Hello, y'all. Welcome back. This is the review part 2. So we are going to go through the second half here, and then it will just be like the first half. I'll do a problem, and then there will be another one similar to it afterwards. So the first one here, it says researchers in Antarctica discovered a warm sea current under a glacier that is causing the glacier to melt. The ice shelf of the glacier had a thickness of approximately 450 meters when it was first discovered. The thickness of the ice shelf is decreasing at an average rate of 0.06 meters per day. Which function can be used to find the thickness of the ice shelf in meters x days since the discovery? So, y'all, what's happening with the ice? It is decreasing. So we're going to be seeing like a negative here. It's going down, right? And it's going down 0.06 meters per day. Now they tell us that it's starting out at 450. So we need to look for an equation that shows we're starting at 450 and then we are subtracting this 0.06. And again, the per day here, that's going to tell you that that's happening more than once. So that's where our x is going to be. So let's look at our answer choices here. And it looks like it should be the first one. So we're starting at 450, and then we are subtracting 0.06 times x, so for however many days, and that would tell us the current amount of ice that is left. All right, so the next one here, this one, we've got a graph of a function, and they want us to write down the equation for it. And you can see down here, it's in slope-intercept form. This g of x, remember that could be thought of as y. So y equals, and we're looking at y equals mx plus b. So m is your slope, and b is that y-intercept. So what we have to do is, first thing, the easiest part to do is find your y-intercept. So you'll look at your y-axis right here, right? This is our y-axis. So where does our graphed line cross that y-axis? It crosses it at 4. So my y-intercept is 4. It's positive 4. So I'm going to have a plus 4 on the end of my function there. Now the next thing we need to do is find the slope. Okay, so find the slope here. So we can see another good point to use for this graph. You could use, let's see. Yeah, we can use this point right there, the point at 3, 2, or we could even use the point here at 6, 0. So you've got a couple of options. Just make sure that if you are going to use, like say the y-intercept in this point over here at 6, 0, you'll have to reduce or simplify your slope. So just anytime you get your slope, get that fraction, type it in the calculator and press enter, and it will do all the reducing for you. So I'm going to actually do that to show you. So I'm going to use the point, the y-intercept here, and the x-intercept actually, also known as the 0, right? So we can also see here, this is a negative slope because we're going down from left to right. So our slope is going to have a negative sign on it. So we go down 1, 2, 3, 4. So we went down 4, and then we go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 to the right. So always try to get your run, that horizontal part, to go to the right. And then your rise will tell you if it's positive or negative. So that 4 is down, so it's negative 4 over 6. And then like I said, go on ahead, type that in the calculator. So we had negative 4 divided by 6 and press enter. And we can see that's negative 2/3. So our slope is negative 2/3. So we have negative 2 over 3x. So now in your boxes, you'll just go type in negative 2 over 3 and 4. All right, and so this one here is similar. Okay, this one is a little bit different though, because we can see that we have our equations. If you scroll down here, our equations are in point slope form. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to first check out the slope on this, okay? Because if you can see, I've got like my answer choices fall into 2 types. One has the slope as being 7/5, the other one has the slope as being 5/7. So if we can figure out which one has the correct slope, then we can eliminate some of our answer choices. So the slope here. All right, first thing, start at your y-intercept there. Okay, start at our y-intercept. And then now we're going to go find our next point. This is our next point right there. So let's see here. We can tell it's a positive slope, and now we just have to count. We go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going up 5. And we go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we 7 to the right. So our rise was 5. Our run is 7. So our slope is 5/7. So that's going to get rid of these first couple answer choices. So now we got our other options there. So we have 5/7x. And then now look at your y-intercept. What was our y-intercept? Where did it cross there? At -3. So -3. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our answer choices and convert them to be slope intercept, and we're going to see if it matches here. So first thing, y plus 2, 5/7 times x plus 7. So you're going to multiply in. So I have y plus 2 equals 5/7x. And then we'll go in the calculator. We'll do 5/7 times +7. So 5/7 times 7, and that gives us 5. So, and it's positive, so plus 5. And then now I need to move this plus 2 away from the y, so it's -2 on both sides. So you would end up with y equals 5/7 x, and 5 minus 2 is 3, so plus 3. So does that match up here? Almost, but not quite. They have plus 3 when instead we need -3. So it's not going to be that one there. So just to see and to show you the process one more time, I'm going to check out the last one. I'm going to look at the last answer choice and prove that it's actually going to be the correct one there. So we have y minus 2 is equal to 5/7 times x minus 7. Okay, so we're going to multiply in. So we have y minus 2 is 5/7x. And again, you can multiply this in the calculator. So 5/7 times -7 this time. That would be -5. And then now here I have a -2 next to the y. So I'm going to use a +2 to move that. So you have 5/7x. And I'm going to type in. I have -5 and I'm adding 2, which will give me -3. Which is what I am actually looking for. So -3. So this one and that one, they match. So that's our final answer. Okay, so this one here, this is the same kind of process as the one that we just did. So find your slope and your y-intercept, and then go on ahead and use the slope to help you eliminate some of your answer choices, and then convert the remaining ones to slope-intercept and match it to the y-intercept of your graph. Okay, and then this one is similar to the one that we did before a couple problems ago, where you just need to find the slope and the y-intercept and plug it in. Okay, so this one here, it says Bob's trying to pay off his mortgage on his car. The car cost him $35,000 and he's paying $800 per month towards the car. So which equation represents the situation with the number of months X and the amount left to pay Y? So y'all, he's starting at $35,000. That's gonna be how much he owes. And if he's paying off, that means he's owing less. So every month that he pays, he's gonna be subtracting $800 off the amount he owes. So it should be B. Okay, this one here, this is direct variation. So you can tell it's direct variation because you see these words directly proportional. So kind of read it here. It says the total distance in centimeters a toy robot moves is directly proportional with the time in seconds. The toy robot moves a total distance of 264 centimeters in 11 seconds. So y'all can see centimeters and seconds. Those are the units that we have. So we're going to be setting up our proportion. So that means 2 equal fractions. And if I put centimeters on the top of one fraction, my second fraction also needs to have centimeters on top. So we're going to plug in what we know. So we know it's 264 centimeters in 11 seconds. So 264 centimeters per 11 seconds. And then now it says, what is the time in seconds that the toy robot moves when the total distance is 408 centimeters? So we need to know the time. And they've told us the centimeters is 408. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cross multiply. So you look for the diagonal that has two numbers on it and you multiply those. So we're going to do 408 times 11. And then we're going to divide by 264. So 408 times 11, and that gives us 4488. So we're going to do 4488, and we're going to divide that by 264. And then that is going to give you the amount. So I'm just going to go divide by 264 and press enter. And so it will be 17 seconds. There we go. Okay, so now this problem is just like the robot problem. You just got to look at your units. You have miles of travel and gallons of fuel. So you can do miles over gallons for your proportion. Okay, now the next one here, it says we are going to consider the system of equations, and they want us to find the value of x in the solution here. So y'all, this one is really easy. All we need to do is, come on, look, they have 3x minus 2y equals 12. I don't want to go make that y equals. What I'm going to do is instead use the system solver that we learned about. So in a calculator, we're going to do menu 3 and then 2. So menu and then algebra, right? Algebra. And then you're going to look up the system solve one. So, and then we're going to type these equations in exactly as they are. So I'm going to delete some of these here so we can clear up our space. So menu, and then 3 for algebra, and then 2 for solve a system, because that's what we're trying to do. And how many equations do we have? 2. Okay, and then we're using x and y, so it was all good to go. So now we type them in. So 3x minus 2y equals 12. So 3x subtract 2y equals 12. And then press the down arrow and we type in the second one. 4x minus y equals 11. 4x subtract y equals 11. Now check it before you press enter. Do they look exactly like on your paper? Yes, then say okay. All right, so what is our solution? 2, -3. Now remember, this is an ordered pair, so it's x comma y. So they wanted the x coordinate. So what is the x coordinate from our point here? It was 2. So choose that correct answer there. There we go. All right. Okay, this one here, same thing. They say that we've got Marco's savings and Sage's savings, and they want to know when are they going to have this same. So basically they're asking us, when do these two lines, where do they cross? And they say at what week? So they say here the week is X. So you're going to solve it. You're going to use the menu algebra solve system, and you're going to give the X coordinate on this one. Okay. Here's our next kind. It says Tara bought a total of 36 movies and songs from an online store for $75.75. The online store charges $1.75 for each song and S and $2.50 for each movie M. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to say instead of S, we're just going to use X. And instead of M, we're going to use Y because that's what our calculator is set up for. Just make it easier. So she bought 36 movies and songs. So just stop right there. I don't care about how much they cost. X is going to be movies or songs, I said, right? and Y is a movie. Now, do I know how many of each? No, but I know that the songs plus the movies were 36 items total that she bought. Now we're going to go and use the prices. It was $1.75 for each song. So $1.75 is a song and X is song. So you have 1.75X. And then now we do the movies. Every movie is $2.50. So 250Y, and that's going to equal to her total. She spent $75.75. So now you're going to go take these two equations, put them in the solver, and then it says how many movies did she buy? So you're going to need the Y coordinate from it. So type this in the menu algebra system solve that we just showed, exactly as it looks on the screen, and then you need the Y coordinate from that. All right. This one is also very similar to the one that we just did. So I'll kind of help you set up the equations and then you guys can solve it there. So it said Brad went to the mall and bought 2 sweaters and a pair of pants for $120. So y'all, X sweater and Y will be the pants. And we're trying to figure out the cost. So these are going to be costs. So 2 sweaters and a pair of pants. So 2X plus 1Y equals 120. Now it says the next week he went to the mall and bought 1 sweater, so 1X, and now 2 pairs of pants, so 2Y, at the same prices as last week for $120. So now you've got your 2 equations. Go on ahead, put them in the solver. And then it says the cost of 1 sweater. So sweater, we need the X. Okay, this one, same thing. It's another system of equations one. You don't have to make it Y equals. Just type it in the system solver and there you go. Okay, now this one is going to be practicing writing the equations. It says 1 acute angle of a right triangle is 36 degrees more than twice the other angle. So we have angle 1, that will be X, and then angle 2 is going to be angle Y. Okay, so it says 1 angle is 36 more than twice the other angle. So you see that word more, more means adding. And then the word than means we're taking this 36 and this twice the other angle. And you got to switch the order that they're in. So we're going to start with twice the other angle. So 1 acute angle is, so X is, X equals, is means equals, okay? 36 more than twice the other angle. So the other angle is Y, so 2 times Y, and then 36 more than that, plus 36, okay? And it says, which of the systems of equations, I'm sorry, of a right triangle, right? Which of the systems of equations could be used to find the smaller angle? So here's one of ours. So it says 1 acute angle of a right triangle is 36 more. So X equals 2 times the other one plus 36. Now the other thing though is that it's a right triangle. So I'm going to give this part to you. If you have a right triangle, that means you've got 1 angle that's already 90. The 3 angles of a triangle have to add up to 180, and 180 minus 90 is 90. So angle X and angle Y also have to add up to 90. So X plus Y is 90. So now go try and find your equations there. And it should be the last one. We're not going to give you ones like that you have to know the angles of a triangle. This is more just that we know how to write a system of equations. So just know the other 2 angles here have to add up to 90. The key one that I really want you to understand is that first equation we wrote. Okay, this one, same kind of process as the one that we just did. So that's problem 15 is going to be the same process. All right, now we're getting to writing inequalities. So this is what we covered just last week. So writing inequalities, it says Victor's crew team needs to raise at least $3,000. So they need to raise what? $3,000 or more. So the amount that they raise needs to be greater than or equal to 3,000. A sponsor generously donated hot dogs and cans of soda for the team to sell at each school sporting event. The crew team members will sell hot dogs for $2 each and sodas for $1 each, which inequality can be used to calculate how many hot dogs X and sodas Y Victor's team needs to sell to have enough money for their trip. So we said the amount that they're going to sell has to be greater than or equal to 3,000 because we need at least 3,000. So now hot dogs, they're $2 and we're using X, so 2X. And they're also selling sodas, and the sodas are $1 and they're going for Y, so 1Y. So there we go. So 2X plus 1Y is greater than or equal to 3,000. Okay, this next one is also similar to the one that we just did. So I'll leave that one to you guys. Same thing here on this one. Okay, all right, now number 19 here. And we're getting close to the end, guys. We're almost there. So 19, it says, the table represents the heights of a plant recorded occasionally over 12 weeks. What is the average rate of change in the height of the plant between week 4 and week 12 in inches per week? That's the key thing, inches per week. So that means change in the number of inches over the change in the number of weeks. So you're just going to go here and label. So Y1 and Y2, and then X1 and X2, and you're going to put that in your slope formula. So Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1. And just type that in your calculator, and there you go. So that one's kind of a little bit of a review from part 1. Okay, this one here as well, y'all, same thing. We're using the slope formula because it says what is the rate of change. So y'all, rate of change is slope. So it's change in Y over change in X. So you got your table, so label it Y1, Y2, X1, X2. And there you go. Just put it in your formula. Okay, again, this one, same thing. It says, what is the rate of change here? So now the only difference is that we have 2 points. So you're going to go label your points. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. And then you just put them into the slope formula. So the slope formula is Y2 minus Y1. Okay, now this one doesn't have negatives, but if you've been struggling with the negatives of it, you could go ahead and put everything like in parentheses, like this. So now you just go plug in Y2 and Y1, X2, and X1. So if you've been kind of getting your slopes incorrect sometimes, I would recommend to you putting the numbers that you're trying to subtract in parentheses. And just go plug in from there. All right, last 2. Okay, this one, yeah. What's the rate of change of Y with respect to X? Y'all, they're just asking you the slope, the rise over run. So you just find your 2 points. So we can use the point right here. And then also there's another point there. So look, what's the rise? 1, 2, 3 over 2. So rise is 3, run is 2, 3 over 2. There you go. All right, and then here, this is the last one. This one's a good example of how to use those parentheses. So I'll work this one out with you guys. So we've got our 2 points, because again, it's asking for the slope. So there's X1, Y1, X2, and Y2. Now I'm going to use the parentheses version of my formula to show you how to work with all these negatives here, because with those negatives there, it is going to change your outcome. So Y2, so I'm going to put parentheses and put negative 12, subtract, and then put parentheses, and now it's Y1. I'm just going by the slope formula, which is on your formula chart. So Y1 is 9 divided by, and now we need X2, so X2 is 8. So parentheses, subtract. There's always subtraction between here. It doesn't matter if it's negative inside the parentheses. There's always subtraction. And then X1 is negative 7. So put that in there. And then now just go type it into the calculator, and that will be your answer. So control divide to get your fraction. Control divide. Now put parentheses. And I like to type in the parentheses first. So I put my pair of parentheses and then I subtract and then I put my second pair of parentheses and then I go down here, parentheses, open and close, and then subtract, and then open parentheses, close parentheses. And now just go put your numbers in. So our first one, we had to put -12 and then 9 over in the other one. So -12, and over here we put in 9. And then on the bottom, the first number that we had was 8, and then the other one is -7. So 8, and then go over in the other one, -7, and press enter. And there you go. Your slope is going to be -7/5. Okay, guys, so that's all the problems for part 2 of the review. Again, if you have any questions, be sure to ask your teacher. And just if you get lost, kind of go back and rewatch the problem and try to see where to go from there. See you guys later.